it actually started. It's a delay starting in 23. Yeah. So the thing I was saying
Okay.
is that like, so I made this. I make this like Alliance War. I was like all fired up about it, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so good. I'm like hustling last night to like finish it off. Like, I'm gonna do this. And it's like, all right, I'll just finish that 29 Marble Buckler quest later. I'll just use a BOE to just so I can get all my fuck Crusader, get everything. All right, I got everything lined up. I got minor speed. And okay, now I can get in the BG. I go to fuck Q. I'm so excited. I got my boys. I'm like, all right, let's do this thing. And me and my two friends are gonna queue. Like, give me the fucking freedoms. Fucking warrior, Alliance warrior with freedoms. What could be better? And I pop on his fucking 20-minute queue. I was so mad. I was like, 20-minute fucking queue. You fucking joking with me? And my buddies are like, should we just queue Horde? It's like, no, we shouldn't just fucking queue Horde. It's not
Yeah.
what I want to do. But anyway, we did end up queuing Horde. Sucked.
I've
Fucking
made
rocket boot.
I've
Yeah.
had three twinks that I've made in classic where I'm like I make them and I'm so excited. It's like the most excited I am for the character. I play two war songs on it and I was like, you know what? This is not as fun as I thought it would be. And I just go back to playing my shamans.
Hey, can you
Uh
post? Can you post the stream so people can get in on it?
yeah, I posted it in where should else should I post it? I posted it in the 29s chat.
I think the
Um
19s, the 39s, maybe. I don't know if they want to watch. Let's see, do we have any chatters? We don't have any chats yet, so I don't think anybody's
yeah,
seen it.
yeah, no rush.
Yeah, we'll wait till some people see it, start logging in, and then we'll get started on the event. Although, actually, I guess since it's a little bit delayed now, we may not know. They may be in there listening to me complain about Alliance queues. Although Alliance queues were always good. They were good for a long, long time. But people just don't like playing Alliance, I think.
Yeah, they've been getting a little bit steamrolled lately for sure.
Well, I think just like the pugs in general are worse on Alliance. I've always believed that. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's just like something I believe to be true. Oh, Sin Man is in. We've got our first viewer. Um, okay, yeah, we got some viewers. All right, you guys want to get started? You want to do the intro, Watchman, or should I do it?
Yeah, yeah. Welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is the semifinals, first semifinal of the Warsong Gulch Invitational. For 29s, I'm Wouch, and here with Jehuda, and we have a special guest this time since Plants is playing. Ent, do you guys want to say hi?
Yeah, hey everybody. I think you know me, and I just want to be clear about something. Ent is a special guest, whether Plant is playing or not. Absolutely special all the time. And a big shout out to my man Skis, calling for a shout out. He's got it. We love him. What a king. Ent, say hi.
Hey guys, Ent here. Your resident 29 troll and shit posting. I'll do my best to fill in for plants. I'm
Mhm.
excited to be here.
We
I
expect
think
it.
it's funny to say troll because I feel like Ent historically has been like one of the main voices of reason
He's
throughout
a good boy. He's
time.
absolutely not a troll. He's
He's
definitely
actually
a
just
good
like
boy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, me saying I'm a troll is a troll. So
Yeah.
yeah. That's
there's
probably your
layers
biggest
to it.
troll yet.
Yeah, he's like
Um,
one of our best good boys. I do expect him to miss some
yeah.
jumps. Native 29. We know they can't do it. So
You
it's
guys
gonna
call
have
me out. I expect you to call out everyone equally.
yeah, well, no, we've talked about this. We'll talk about it again if we have to. When a 19, and I don't even want to say misses, but when a 19 doesn't take the jump that he could
It's a
make at any
juke.
time if he wants, it's a juke. That's purposeful.
It's a
Oh,
tactical.
exactly.
Yes, it's
completely fooled them. Yeah, 29, they missed it. Just so we're clear about that. That's a miss.
Yep.
It's good to
39,
know.
it's
Okay.
just like, oh, they didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, they're just seeing it for the first time. They're going to try
Yeah.
and rocket boot up there.
They're in Buzz
Yeah.
Aldrin territory there. Um, all right, so let's do a quick tournament recap.
Yeah.
For those who haven't watched, I highly recommend watching the VODs. I've watched all of them at least once. All of them should be in the Discord. If you don't know how to get to the Discord, maybe
What
ask
are you
someone
doing?
in Twitch, and they'll direct you. But so the way this tournament was set up is there's two pools, and in the green pool, almost 30 won the pool. They beat Can We Stop 2-0 in probably the most exciting games of the tournament.
Definitely.
And then the Ruckus went against both of them and came up short. I thought, out of the two pools, this one was maybe the one that was a little more competitive.
Hmm.
I think a lot of good storylines, kind of the ascendancy of almost 30, kind of breaking through
Yeah.
after a lot of close losses. Can We Stop? This is kind of their, come up into the 19s, out of the 19s. And I think with the Ruckus, they're, in my mind, the biggest pillar of the bracket going back to launch of Classic.
Hmm.
So I really liked following this pool. Do you guys have any, what kind of sticks out to you about this pool during the pool play?
I mean, for me, it's going to have to be the AT Can We Stop throwdown. I think it was like some of the best Warsong Gulch I've ever seen, possibly the best games of Gulch ever played for Twinks. They were amazing. It had all the intensity that you would hope for. They were long. They were great, especially the second game was amazing. Anyone who hasn't seen it should go back and watch. It's really good. It's entertaining. They're exciting. It was exhausting for us in the moment, but, as I went back and rewatched, what masterpiece of fucking games. They were really great. And, I know if anybody from the Ruckus is listening, like, very interested in casting a game between you guys and This Is the Way. If that ever comes up, we would love to do that, follow up in this tournament. But for me, like I said, it's AT Can We Stop? That was just a masterpiece.
Yeah, I mean, Watch, you called it. I think having Ruckus in this group is awesome. They've been here since the beginning, and arguably, if this is the end, all the way to the end. I think it's great that they represented. They showed up. They didn't have a great result, but I think This Is the Way Ruckus kind of loser match would be the match the community wants. I think AT and CWS obviously probably the best games we've seen so far. But I got to shout out Ruckus. I'm glad they showed up,
Me
and
too.
it wouldn't be the same without them. So
Agreed. So kind of moving forward, then opposite of the green pool, we had the purple pool. This pool kind of played out in an interesting way where it felt like, for one reason or another, PAL just kind of decimated both teams they played against.
Yep.
And then B-Tough and This Is the Way had a game and had a match where I think it's hard to say, like, This Is the Way. It felt like they just kind of struggled to get their footing. I think the interesting thing about this pool to me is that we didn't really know anything about any of these three teams coming in. PAL, and I mean, you're the GM, so you probably could talk more about this, but you guys kind of came in with a really redesigned roster, a lot of players from different brackets, friends from old times or whatever. It was kind of interesting to watch. B-Tough, a guild from 19s, they didn't really have the numbers, so they merged with another guild, Spacebar, and put together this kind of Frankenstein of a 19s team, kind of like a Mankirk Pregame. And then This Is the Way. This was really kind of their first time getting their feet wet in the pre-made scene. So this pool was cool to watch unfold. I don't think This Is the Way, is probably super happy with their result, but I think they had a lot of looks at potential caps, which is cool. I don't know. I think the two teams that advance from this, it's going to be interesting to see how they interact maybe with the other side, though. What are you guys' thoughts on the purple pool?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much total domination. PAL really ripped. But we're going to get a different look tonight. We're going to see B Tough, which is, like you said, it's kind of like a Franken team, a little bit, some really good players. But one of the things about them is we know it's kind of a lot of real strong players, but who don't often play together. They play against each other a lot, but playing together. So, they've had a couple of opportunities now and some practices. So we wonder if we'll be seeing a more cohesive team tonight. That's kind of my hope. I imagine everyone feels the same way.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is kind of like, looking at these two groups, like one is kind of like the old guard versus new guard, like PAL, Be Tough, and This Is the Way, kind of talking new rosters and kind of, new synergy that we have to build in that group versus, Can We Stop, kind of one of the older 19 guilds. AT, they've been around since private servers, and the Ruckus, right? So I think that's kind of what sticks out to me. It really excited for these groups to merge, and play each other. I think Be Tough, like you guys mentioned, a little bit of a mix of kind of different 19 guilds, CWS and, sorry, not CWS, Be Tough, No Excuses, and Spacebar. And I just think that they're going to get better the more they play. So, I'm excited to see them get this far in the tournament and potentially even further. I think they'll just get better and better.
For sure. So looking at the playoffs, so now we're merging the pools in a way, almost 30 in a single elimination bracket. I don't want to lead anyone astray. So we're going to have almost 30 versus B Tough, No Excuses. And then we're going to also have PAL versus CWS at some point. And then the winner of both of those will play each other for the championship. I mean, I think out of these two, I think I'm most excited for If I wasn't, just being completely honest, I think I'm most excited for Be Tough versus Almost 30. Um, but when Can We Stop in PAL happens, it's going to be pretty hype. And I don't know. Before the tournament started, I picked Can We Stop to win it. At this point, I think the money is on PAL or Almost 30. I think if I were a betting man, I think PAL probably is my new prediction. But Can We Stop has a lot of great players, so I don't feel terrible about making that pick. Jehuda, you picked Can We Stop as well.
I did.
How do you kind of view the playoffs, and what are your predictions on that?
Well, it's not fucking looking good, is it? But listen, I'm gonna hang on and hold on to it. I'm a man of commitment. I stick to my promises. I stood by Can We Stop. I intend to continue to do that. Thankfully, it won't matter for tonight. We got different teams to deal with, but yeah. Am I sweating a little bit? Yeah, I'm fucking sweating. It's not just because I'm riding on his bike.
Okay. And obviously you have to feel pretty good in your spot. Out of the 3 teams that are not yours, is there any that strikes out to you as being the biggest competition?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think you couldn't really go wrong with picking any one of these 4 remaining guilds. They have a lot of talent. I do think that our next game against CWS is going to be very challenging. We don't really take anything for granted. So, we've played CWS a few times. We split 1-1. And both times those games are really tough, kind of high level games. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see any team move on here. But I got to go with AT. As far as like what might be the biggest threat. I think that they just have so much practice at 29, a lot of synergy with each other, and some of the best 29 players in the bracket. Right, Pepperjack, Dr. Dog, Schmuck. I mean,
sure.
Swig. The list really goes on. So
That's Heartseeker medicated Buttwise player of the game. Swig to you.
right,
Yeah.
Excuse me. Where's
I
my
don't-
manners there?
It's like, he didn't win a game like that. Put down 2 good traps over a course of 4 hours to not be called by his appropriate title. So
It's like when you call a doctor Mister, and they're
yeah,
like, "Whoa,
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
doctor."
yeah. It's outrageous. I should make you guys call me doctor,
This
but
is
I'm
more
not gonna.
exciting.
I'm gonna allow it. We'll carry on. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal.
So normally there's a scheduling slide. I think I'll just address this right off the bat. We're struggling with some of the scheduling right now because of Thanksgiving and just some people traveling from different teams. There's a 60s tournament. There's like a lot of variation, a lot of factors going on here. But once we get details about when these games will be played, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Another footnote is there is a hard stop tonight on this game. So it's best 2 out of 3, but there's a chance we might play the 3rd game some other night. If that happens, we'll more than likely stream it, and we'll keep everyone posted.
We'll stream it. We'll stream it. Yeah.
But tonight is Almost 30 versus Be Tough. This is a match that I look very much forward to. Kind of just thinking back on if these teams have ever played against each other. They have. It was actually pretty full of drama. Both teams, it started with Almost 30 playing a 6-4, Be Tough playing a 5-5. Almost 30 then went to a 5-5 as well after getting capped on, and both teams played pretty defensively. And if you go to both their comms, they're just like yelling at each other. They're like, "Oh, I hate how this team's playing so defensively," and it kind of led to some drama. I didn't want to bother getting some of the DMs out, but I look forward to it. Do you guys have any comments about like this game in particular? I'm going to kind of go over the background of the match next slide. So,
I mean, the only thing I want to say about this is that like if this were a battle of logos, like this would be an easy one. This would be
for sure
2 8-minute recaps for Be Tough. I want to talk about it a little bit because I think it's possibly the best logo I've ever seen for anything in my life. It's
now
so
that
good.
you
can see, well, I just want to talk about it a little bit. You can see she's being tough because her facial expression is saying like no, I don't think so. Do you guys see that? Like she's saying like she's like no, not today, right? And then what she also has, she has a shirt, and excuses are crossed. There won't be any excuses either, right? She's gonna be tough. She's not gonna make excuses. I love it. Now let's look at AT. Very basic, very simple. They've put what appears to me to be a gnome with a mind control
cap.
Two letters indicating their name. AT. We know that's their name. A circle.
Yeah.
What's the circle for? No one knows. In Be Tough, No Excuses, the circle has meaning. You see, because it's crossing out excuses. It's obvious. It's just a much better logo. And that's sort of my comment to your question. Just go ahead, Ant-Man.
No, I agree. I mean, the almost 30 logo is by far my least favorite in the
Yeah,
tournament for
very
one reason.
disappointing. Yeah,
When I
hands on
build
hips,
these
right? Yeah,
PowerPoints,
yeah.
when I build these like PowerPoint slides, the fact that all of them are square except almost 30s, which is rectangular, is the biggest
How could they do that
bother.
at a time
I
like
don't know.
this?
It's
Yeah,
yeah,
The
it's
culture,
terrible.
that's they got to go against the grain.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. The mind control cap is like it's actually inexcusable because they only can use it in one match in the entire tournament if
Exactly.
one of the teams progress.
Outrageous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have
Um.
done like a Pathfinders or something.
Yeah.
But next
Yep.
time.
For
Yeah.
sure. All
I,
right. So
I think real quick, like
yeah,
I
of
think
course.
this game, I think it will start out in AT's favor. I really believe the longer the game goes on, I think BTNE can kind of, calm down, get to their bread and butter, maybe their splits. I think the longer the games go, it kind of starts going in BTNE's favor. So that's kind of what I'm keeping an eye out for this game is, how long are the splits, how long, how does the transition phase go, can we set up established O&D, and after that point, if we can kind of continue sustaining that, I think BTNE has a chance.
Which team? Let me ask you something. Which team do you think is? We have a couple minutes here, right?
Oh, we have 9 minutes. We have plenty of time.
Okay.
We usually have like 4 minutes at this point.
Okay. Which of these teams do you think favors splits?
I think by the rule set and everything, I think Alliance is inherently a little favored. I
Yeah.
think, but I do think Wally.
Oh,
It's like
did you?
one of
Yeah.
the weirdest things about this game, about B Tough versus PAL, is there was this like really weird narrative that like Wally was irrelevant and did nothing.
Yeah.
And if you go and watch the game, like Wally connected pretty quick a lot of the times, and when he was on him, and melted. The only reason they weren't able to get caps is that PAL's offense was killing, BTNE's defense faster, so then
Yeah.
they had to go send people to repick, and like I think there was kind of this weird narrative, and I actually think B Tough is really good in the splits. I think they
Yeah.
made a lot of, for the lack of the better word, boneheaded, mistakes.
Yep.
Just some nuance of the 29 bracket you don't see at 19s.
Do we
But
have
I
their
don't know. I
lineups,
think,
by the way?
yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
That's a good
But
question though, Jehuda. As far as who has like the better splits, it's scary. They're both scary teams to go to splits to.
Yeah.
I think AT is trying something a little bit different, with the Rep Pally. And so maybe that gives them an edge, like in typical pre-mades that before the tournament that didn't make the roster. So
yeah,
yeah,
I
I
agree.
think that's kind of the X factor. And so no one really has a lot of practice against that. But I'm sticking to my guns that like if BTNE, if they can get a bunch of splits, and if they can kind of settle their defense, I think they could take it. I think it really is kind of anyone's game here, which is
I
awesome.
agree. So real quick, I have to put it out here. Be Tough No Excuses, kind of a misnomer. They actually are And My Amazing Friends, which is the rating guild of Be Tough No Excuses, Spacebar, and other people on Mancrick. And they want to say if you want to raid with them, come join us on Mancrick on Alliance, level 60s. And if you join, you get preferential treatment in multiple Twink Discords. So
Wow. You can't beat that, can you?
yeah, so we're just gonna run through this because we talked about it so much, and then the next slide is the lineups. But almost 30 beat CWS, 2 really good games. In that game, the player of the game was voted on as being Swig, and then versus the Ruckus, they won, and it was Pepperjack. And then on the other side, B Tough lost 2 really quick games to PAL. There was one of them even had a rules violation, but these things happen. And then they had, some decisive games against This Is the Way, where This Is the Way had a really interesting strategy with double Warlock. But at the end of the day, Be Tough No Excuses was able to overcome it and win both the games in that series.
So can I touch on that a little bit real quick? Because
yeah, go for it.
I think, we're talking about what had happened in a prior game with the Be Tough team, the Am I Amazing Friends Club. And, I think it kind of revealed something that came as a surprise, I think, to a lot of us, which is that, BT&E was not as prepared for the tournament as we might have
For
thought.
sure.
Like there was some confusion about rules that were missed. That for the guys playing on those teams, like that's something that's very unfamiliar to all of us. You know, we know that they're usually one of the best prepared teams, if not the best. That's over now. You know, that's kind of in the past. I think there won't be any kind of mix-ups, and you know, I think there's a possibility that they did take maybe the first round for granted, but I do expect that we'll see something a little better because now we're in the playoffs, and my expectation is they took some time over these past couple weeks to really get ready for these. So I
For
think you
sure.
might see a better showing from BT&E than you might have seen, in some of these prior showings.
Yeah, we might
Definitely.
start seeing them kind of in a different gear this game.
Yeah. So kind of going back, we've had some fun slides over the past, elephants in the room, beefs, things like that. I think the storyline with AT is that there are these private server kids, Lights Hope, Cronus 3, Nostalrius. For a long time, they, were always among one of the best guilds, but they never could quite beat the other best guilds. So they were kind of, the Bills, but after their winning at CWS, they got that monkey off their back and they're, no longer the Bills. And then looking at BTNE, they're, longtime 19s guild made up of two 19s guilds. The main one, Be Tough No Excuses, kind of a boomer guild from vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've joined forces to be a raiding guild in My Amazing Friends. And you can see over here, Milosh, the mage, is not with the rest of them in the photo. So, and I don't know. Did do you think sometimes when I put these narratives together, I think they're unfair. Is there anything that you guys wanted to touch on maybe these narratives or the games that we talked about?
Well, one thing I want to talk about before anything is that I have placed the proposed "Can We Stop" logo on the screen for the fans. I hope they can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it with me, but this is the one that was sent over the chat. I've put it in there so people can see it. I'll remove it afterwards. I prefer our logo, which is better, but nevertheless, I will permit this blasphemy
Yeah.
very briefly, and you guys can go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things here I have a comment on is the fact that Be Tough and some other 19s, like they're raiding, they're kind of slaying some dragons. That's great. But I just hope I don't see any excuses about that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
raiding, all of us are raiding. So I hope that that's not just an excuse from Be Tough, no excuses.
They
I
don't. They
really
don't
hope
make
that's not the
excuses.
case because that's kind of
Yeah.
what it sounds like from some of the things I've heard. But I just don't believe that. I think that they got good players. They've been playing a long time. Raiding a couple dragons doesn't change that.
Wow. I hope that the finals now is Be Tough versus Pal, so I can clip you being like, I don't want to hear any excuses.
Uh-oh.
I got to do it for the beef slides.
Yeah,
We had a good one our first game, so I'm trying to get our next ones nice and juicy.
for sure, for sure. So looking at the rosters, I this is almost 30s, same as that we've been seeing. Are there any, big call outs to you guys, players you want to highlight?
I mean, I think this is the same lineup we've been seeing. It is no changes. So, like, obviously they like what they've been doing. I think there's something because we didn't do a beef slide. I watched one of the prior streams from that we didn't do, and Schmuckman was on there saying that he was not going to. I think he said he was not going to be giving up a cap for the remainder of the tournament.
I did hear that.
And was it a cap or was it a game? I can't
I think it was the
remember.
cap.
I think he
It
said
was
they
the
would
cap.
not be giving up a cap, which is very bold. And, I don't want to put Ant-Man in a position to possibly be responding to that, but did you hear it? Did you hear that?
So I did hear it. I thought maybe I meant to comment it a few seconds ago, actually. So, I thought it was maybe game, like they won't drop a game, which I think is, you got to have confidence in yourself. But, not losing a cap, maybe a little disrespectful to your opponents, maybe kind of firing up your boys. That
Yeah.
I get that, but we'll have to see that. We'll have to see that tonight and see if
Well,
he can kind of stay true to his word there.
and I'm glad you've brought up this respect issue because this is a very important one to me. So I think that Schmuckman had indicated that he felt like that they weren't being adequately respected. Specifically, the casting team that in the broadcast booth.
He called you
there
out.
was
Specifically.
I may have heard my name. I wasn't paying attention, so I'm not 100% on this. But I just want to be very crystal clear on this issue when it comes to respect. We actually respect them even less now as a result of that. That this respect has actually diminished. We've gone to almost zero respect. We were at a very low number before, I'll admit and agree to that, but now that number has actually been reduced. And the more you complain about it, the even less we respect you. We're going to be heading into negative respect. That's the next step. If it wasn't for Dr. Dog, okay, who's an absolute fucking king, and playing the most powerful class and the most powerful player, they would have no respect whatsoever. But right now they do have that modicum thanks to him. I just want to make sure that the air is very clear on this issue.
Jehuda, man, you might be giving them some extra confidence right now.
Bulletin board material.
Yeah, that's fine with it. I'm happy to be that the woman who owns the team in Major League, and they're taking off the articles of clothes. I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. I do also have her beautiful body. I'm comfortable with that. So go ahead, guys. Pin me up. I'm ready for it.
So speaking of people that do have our respect, though, I think if we've learned anything from this tournament is it creates celebrities. And, some of those celebrities, have been players, other have been succubuses. But on almost 30, one of them has been Stu's Boar.
We love Stu's
Boar. I just
Boar.
wanted to give a shout out to Stu's Boar.
Stu's Boar in the house. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what he's up to. If I can figure out how to track him, I will follow him, but I don't know that the game allows it.
So yeah, and then looking at B-Top, we literally didn't even talk about a single thing on Almost 30's roster.
Sorry. This is the analysis that people want. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. B-Top, this is their team, same as it was before.
Yep.
Instead of Rogue, they have a Shaman this time.
Yeah, we like that.
I think
I like that. Do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I actually think it's interesting where they put the Shaman. I think with the Red Paladin on offense, might actually be kind of smart to put that Shaman on defense. One thing I've talked about ad nauseum is that literally every team's defense has been terrible in this tournament, and I have a feeling whoever figures out the defense first is going to win the tournament handily.
Yep.
And I think, as much as we kind of like to say, 5-5 is for people who don't know how to play Warsong, I do think, the purpose, the point of the tournament is to win. Yep. And I think, these Shamans haven't looked all that great on offense. Literally, two of the best Shamans are in this tournament, and neither of them, outside of mid-fights have impressed me all that much. And that's not a knock on them. It's just kind of what it's been like. So maybe shove them on defense and see if that fixes things. Because you want them for the team fights, right? But I just don't know if they're all that great on offense or kind of redundant.
I mean, I think I love this. I think this is much better, a much better lineup. I've told you before, I'm not in love with a Horde Warrior, but when your warrior is Wally, I guess you kind of, right, you have to bring him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's
for sure.
He's
not
too,
leaving him
too
at
valuable.
home.
He's absolutely deadly. He was deadly in that last game. I mean, he's just extremely effective. I mean, essentially, you have to just not let him get to your druid. I think a warrior can actually hit harder even than a rogue, if you can believe that. So they have the potential to just to have one swing hit for 450. I mean, that's crazy. So if he gets on you, and like I said, and the charge, but he has to be free, and that's the hard part with Horde. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ant-Man.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, I agree that I think the warrior, especially when piloted by an experienced one like Wally, it's really dangerous. If you're not a good warrior, you can kind of shut him down pretty easily. But Wally, he's really good at managing his combat state. So I do expect to see some really clutch charges out of him today.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, other than that, I wanted to comment on the fact that both these teams are running double Hunter.
True.
Which I love.
Have we seen this yet in the tournament yet? Like maybe BTNE versus This Is the Way. Did they both run?
Yeah, that was it. And then I think the Ruckus also had double Hunter, but I'm not. I think it was Cake and Frost Shots both had Hunter.
Oh, that's right.
But I think what's cool about the top four is there's a good chance we get Hunter versus two Hunter versus two Hunter, and then on the other side, two Mage versus two Mage.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer
Yeah.
double hunter. I think we've talked about this in the past. I like it. I think hunter's kind of the strongest class at 29. And I just don't see, for me, it's really tough for me to envision a scenario where I'd be comfortable without having both a defensive hunter and an offensive hunter. You kind of need them both. And so I would be so uncomfortable going double mage, but I know that obviously not everyone feels that way. So go ahead, Edmund.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
calling out Pal there, but I think,
Well, not
well,
really. I just, yeah.
and CWS, yeah, we
Yeah.
both kind of run the double mage, but I do think that's kind of the story of this tournament. Is that's where I think most of the flexibility comes from. Is are you going to run double hunter, and what does that kind of look like when you're setting up your OD or you're fighting in mid or you're in transitions with the flag, versus what does it look like when you're running two mages.
Yeah.
So I think that's really like that's what I'm really most interested in here is, we have essentially an equal team as far as the mage and hunter class go.
For
And
sure.
those are probably by far the strongest classes in 29. So um, I'm just excited to see, which team is going to use these hunters more effectively.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. So I guess the time is to predict who we
Yeah.
think will use those hunters more effectively. Jehuda, do you have a you want to
I
talk about your
do.
prediction?
Yeah, I do. So I took BTNE here. I took them. I really think this is a hard call for me to make. I really do. I really did have a lot of respect and love for Almost 30. That's all gone now. So I had to take BTNE. Also, even more importantly, my man Plant Man playing on that team. I love him. He's my homie.
True, true.
I'm never going to go against him. They could be playing just Plant Man versus Pal, 15 stack. I'd have to pick Plant Man. He's my homie. It's
19
just,
bias.
yeah,
19
exactly.
bias.
Yeah, there is no 19 bias. 19s are just, they're just a genetically superior bracket. I don't know what else to tell. I mean, it's science. So no, but I think this is going to be a great matchup. I think BTNA gets better, but I actually think this is going to be a really terrific fight. Could easily go either way. It's going to be fun.
So I guess it's on to me. I mean, I think
Yep.
Jehuda, you're right. I think this is a really tough one to call. I think we're both, all three of us are going to be kind of risking the record here as far as who we predict. So, I mean, like I said earlier, I think if the games go for a long time, I think the odds change a little bit more in BTNE's favor. I know the 19s, they're familiar with some longer games. They've seen that. They've been through that. So I think that, they can kind of weather the storm if games do end up lasting a long time. But given that, I think they're up against kind of, the Titans of 29 here as far as, Schmuck and his boys. So
Mm-hmm.
I got to give it to AT. I think that they've been playing, at their peak for a while now. And I'd be surprised if they kind of regressed from their
Yeah.
previous games. So
They've been ripping.
they're practicing a lot. They've picked up some good talent with Dr. Dog, or returned talent. So yeah, I think AT takes it. But if I'm BTNE, I'm still happy about my chances. We just gotta calm down, and play the game we know.
So, I mean, me and Jehuda both went 5-1 in the regular season for
Mm-hmm.
picks. So, and I think both of us are probably going to agree on the last two games. I just have a feeling. So I really wanted to go against what he decided. I played with both of these guilds. I played with Spacebar 19s, and they're kind of part of BTUF at this point for this tournament. I played with Gang in 29s. That's kind of what Almost 30 is currently. I think if they played 20 games, I'd be tempted to take BTUF No Excuses. I think that they're probably maybe a little better at adapting and whatnot, but for the sake of the best two out of three where we're at now, I'm going to take Almost 30. I think their offenses look really good, and I think BTUF is not the kind of team that's going to switch to a 5-person defense, and I think it's just going to be a race, and I think the Red Paladin is going to win that race every time. That's my take.
So we're getting some word from the fans out here. A lot of people picking AT. Forwards is picking AT. He wants that out there. Haasman, however, picking BTNE, baby. So we'll just be listening to
I
Haasman on
think I
that.
see-
Great selection, brother.
I think I see Timo with an AT pick as well. The GM
Interesting.
of
Yep.
the way. Yeah.
Is
Yep.
it Timo or Timo?
You know,
It's
I
Tim.
think-
His
is
name is
Timo.
Tim. His name's Tim. Well, it's Timo. Oh, let's ask him. Timo or
I
Timo?
think
I
it's
always said
Timo.
Timo.
Like
Yeah,
the League of Legends character, you know?
Yeah,
Timo.
that's what I said. I said Timo as well.
I've never
And
played
then-
League of Legends, so I had
And
no
then
idea.
Jehuda told me it was Timo, and then I saw his warlock was named Timo, and I was like, all right, so it's definitely Timo. But
Yeah, true.
Jehuda talks to I don't know, man.
I mean, he's my Blowmax brother. I feel like he would have corrected me, but I guess we'll find out.
He's probably the type of guy that he just won't correct you, right? He'll just be like, yeah, that's cool, like that it's close enough.
I hope not. All right, let's get the invites out. Don't forget. Did you make your level 1?
Yeah. My name on Blow Me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ent Cast.
All right, cool. Gotcha.
Where are you? You're not in Undercity with me? You're not in the Undercity
I'm in the
spot?
den.
Wait, which are you in?
Oh, I made it work. Yeah, I didn't make
Orc,
it.
what were you? Wow, huge miss.
Yeah, Orc is like the worst choice. Oh
Huge.
my
I
god.
got the
Wow.
bald. I got the
We're
bald
rethinking our
female
choice
orc.
now.
Huge miss. Huge miss.
All right, Tom says they're ready. I'm waiting
Yeah.
on Schmuck.
See,
He DM'd
So
me on
just
Discord
so
that
we're
they're
clear,
ready.
I want you guys to know from the chat that Timo deferred to me on the pronunciation of his name. He said, as his attorney, he wants me to make that call for him. I'm happy to do that. It's Timo. So that's the ruling of the court. If you want to appeal, you're welcome to. But that's a settled issue. It's Timo.
I don't like that.
Thank you.
I don't like that very much.
Well, it's like I said, if you're welcome to appeal.
All right, I'll look into that.
It's a pretty expensive appeals process, probably. All right, let's see here.
Yeah, is it male orc? Oh my god, don't. Is it male orc? It's male.
I don't know. I'm the bald female orc.
Okay,
I
thank you.
have a list.
Oh wow.
I mean, imagine a
The
male
EQ.
orc at a time like this. Oh my goodness. Well, the good news is
Say
it's
the-
not that. It's not
Yeah.
that, so we don't have to worry
Well,
about it.
that's what my main is. So
A male orc. Why would you?
Oh.
I couldn't even. A male orc. It's so, like every time if you see a male orc in Warzone Gold, it's like that's a bad. Like you are assured that is a bad player. Like you're definitely sure they're going to jump repeatedly at the alliance fence, angry. That's a guarantee.
yeah, it's a 29 brain move. If
Yeah.
you have a 29 brain, that's kind of you just kind of go zug and
Nope.
that's kind of it. That's the
I,
end
s-
of the-
I
that's the
assume
end of it.
39s are all male orcs. It's just everybody's a male orc.
A lot of male orcs.
Male orcs, male orc,
For
male
sure,
human.
for
Everyone,
sure.
male orc, male human. Yeah,
My
So
39
many-
warrior is a male orc. So
Yeah.
goes without saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Goes
Tons of
without
male
saying.
humans also. Tons of male humans and male dwarfs.
Of course.
I think male dwarf though is correct, right? For a rogue.